Download attendance list. Okay. The next method of irrigation which people utilized if suitable condition is there, we call it subsurface irrigation. So in this method, water is applied underneath the surface to avoid the extra evaporation because of the pondage of the water. But special condition is required which will facilitate, which will allow this subsurface irrigation. Uh, in this method, we supply water not from the surface. We supply water underneath the ground surface, and water reaches to the roots through capillary action. The condition which favors subsurface irrigation is as follow. It needs a layer of impervious soil at 1.5 to 2 meter depth. Below the root zone depth, we need to have a layer of impermeable soil. While upper layer should not be impermeable, that will not allow the movement of the water within the pores. So upper layer should be a porous layer. So upper layer, a very permeable soil layer should be there at the top surface, and below 2 meter there should be an impervious layer. So that is the condition. It should have a uniform topography, means unevenness should not be there, and moderate slopes are allowed, but uneven topography is not allowed. uh, in one of the variant of this subsurface irrigation method, we provide water in the field through the field channels. We provide water through channels, small channels, in a series of channels which are apart from each other, about 40 to 90 meter distance from each other. So we provide channels 40 to 90 meter distance from one another, and within that those two channels, the area, if it is having the top soil is pervious, we expect that the water will reach through the capillary action. And especially if we have some impervious span underneath 2 meter, so then it will facilitate the provision of water to the root zone through the capillary action. A variation of this is, so this, if this method is utilized, we say this is a natural way of subsurface irrigation. In comparison to this, we can go to the artificial subsurface irrigation also, in which we provide a network of the pipes underneath the ground, and those pipes have perforation or opening at 0.5 to 1 meter distance from each other, and these pipes are 2 to 4 meter distance from each other. So these pipes are supplied with the water percolates out from the opening of the pipe, and it soaks the surrounding land, surrounding soil, and through the capillary action the remaining soil also get the water, wetness of the water, and the crop, if it is grown between the pipes, can get the required quantity of water. It is cost intensive if pipes are utilized, but its water application is reduced to as low as 1/3 of the surface irrigation methods. So we can see a video of this artificial way of application of water using the subsurface irrigation using the pipe network. तो इसकी एक वीडियो अगर हम देख लें तो that will make us understand in a better way. See, this is introduction, and this is. So here they are showing that they are laying the pipes underneath the ground with the help of the machine, about 5 to 40 centimeter deep underneath the ground, 2 inch to 2 inch to about a feet, more than a feet depth. So they lay pipes. A series of the pipes will be laid at a distance of 1 to 2 meters. And that's it. After laying down, then they put the water inside these pipes and they see how much area is soaked. So depending upon the porosity, different extent of the area will be soaked. So the spacing of the pipe will be adjusted or will be decided based upon this extent of the area which is soaked with the help of the pores in the pipes, water released from the pores of the pipes. So this color difference is telling you how much area. So if pipe was over here, so it is soaking about a meter on each side. So we can place pipes 2 meter interval from each other. So in this way, usually it has 1 liter per hour or less than that water is provided in one of the pipe, and that is released through that is released. Then they are cultivating the maize crops in rows. So they are showing that they are putting the seed. So additional benefit of this subsurface irrigation, because you cannot see, there is no ridges, no embankment, no levees, no channels, no furrows. So the whole field is available for cultivation because they are using row crops. So the benefit of the row crops is that the machinery can move easily through within the rows and can apply the fertilizer and can apply the nutrients, can apply the pesticides and herbicides. Pesticides are chemicals to kill the pest, and herbicides are the chemicals to remove or to kill the herbs which are not required, the small weeds or herbs which we are not intent, which we don't want that it should be there. So that is the benefit of the cropping in rows. That is how you have seen that uh, subsurface pipe irrigation system can work. So let me see if they have anything else to show you. Yeah, from this figure, they are showing you that their way of irrigation in this picture. Underneath the ground, they have the pipe which make some area wet, and through the capillary action, the water reaches to the roots. So that is the main concept of this method of irrigation. So now we move to our lecture again, and now we can better understand what is the subsurface irrigation. Two variations have been informed to you. One with the help of the channels at 40 to 90-meter distance from each other, and if the porous soil is available in between them with a hard pan or impervious soil layer at 2 meter depth, then we expect that the water will soak the land in between and we can grow the crops over there through this method. This method will be called as a natural subsurface irrigation. So they call it as a natural subsurface irrigation. And artificial subsurface irrigation requires laying the pipes underneath the ground, as they have shown 40 how much, 10 centimeter to 40 centimeter, 5 centimeter to 40 centimeter depth, and then having the perforation inside it that will provide water to the soil at the subsurface level, and that will provide water to the crops. So it reduces the losses because no pondage is there. It enhances the area available to for cultivation, and these are the benefits. The negative things is that a special kind of soil is required. Second thing is high initial cost is required, especially for this artificial subsurface irrigation. So next method is one of the recent method, relatively recent method. For past few decades, people are using it. 19th century, 20th century, this method was there. When pumps were available, then these methods were developed. So when pumps were not there, this sprinkler and this drip irrigation was not practiced. So sprinkler irrigation need a regular supply of water through pumpage. We need a pressurized irrigation system. So both of these are called pressurized irrigation, sprinkler and drip irrigation. We need a pumping system to supply water to the pipes, and the pipes are connected to the sprinkler guns or the sprinkler nozzles of variable types. So basic difference from the surface, subsurface, and the sprinkler irrigation is that we apply water to the land in the form of the spray of the water, in the form of the small droplets of the water, like the rainfall occurs. So it mimics or it copies the natural application of the water on the ground. So sprinkling is a method of supplying water to the soil surface in the form of spray, which is somewhat similar to the rain. Water is sprayed into air and allowed to fall on the soil surface in a uniform pattern. And rate of application of water through this sprinkler is controlled, and it should always be kept less than the rate of infiltration of the water into the soil. So infiltration rate should be higher. For example, how do we measure the infiltration rate of the soil? In the laboratory, we have the equipments, we call it infiltrometer. It is not a complicated equipment. It is simply two steel rings are there, one of smaller diameter, one of the larger diameter. We put those rings in the soil. Outer ring is slightly higher. So we put the water between these two rings, and then we fill the inner ring also. We measure how much is the reduction of the water depth within the inner ring. That is called as the rate of infiltration. Initially, when we start this test, initial infiltration rates are high, and after some times it goes to a constant level. So that is the infiltration rate at the longer time scale. So that infiltration rate, if it is known to us for the soil, sprinkler method, rate of application of the water through the sprinkler method should be kept smaller than that to avoid pondage. If sprinkler rate of application of the water through the sprinkler is higher than the infiltration rate, then pondage will occur. So when pondage will occur, then high evaporation will occur. That will make this method less water efficient. So because in drip irrigation also, in sprinkler irrigation also, in subsurface also, we can control the supply of water through the valves and through the pumps. So we need to keep the rate smaller than the rate of infiltration in the soil. So this is a high cost intensive method. So it is used for those crops which are more delicate and gives us better return in the form of the money. So for orchards and for nurseries, so people can use this method. And those people who have sufficient amount of money, like the golf courses, they frequently use this method. It looks good also. One thing is that it looks good also. And another benefit is that, like the surface irrigation method, you have to prepare the land, or you have to contain the water with the help of the ridges. In check basin method, a number of ridges were there. In strip method also, we need ridges. In this method of sprinkler irrigation, you don't need to prepare the land. Even you don't need to level the land. You can provide the water to an unleveled land through the sprinklers and through the sprinklers gun and the nozzles. Uh, there is a video, you see it yourself, mentioned at the bottom of this slide. He's telling you how to make a stand or how to make a support of the pipes for installing a sprinkler gun on it for your lawn or for your house application. So if somebody if somebody buy a sprinkler gun from the bazaar, from the market, and want to install it on a pipe, so you can make that pipe yourself. A junction of pipe is required. So over that sprinkler can be installed. The suitable condition in which this sprinkler method should be utilized are mentioned over here. For very pervious or porous soil, for which we cannot use the surface irrigation method without causing excessive deep percolation. So if we use for porous soil surface irrigation method, high percolation losses are expected. So in those soils, it is preferred that sprinkler irrigation method should be applied, because you can apply the water at your will whenever you need, and a frequent and small quantity of water can be applied using this sprinkler method of irrigation. So for porous soil, it is recommended that you should go for sprinkler irrigation method if we can bear the cost, if the pump system is available and the pipes network is available. Land with the steep slope and easily erodible soil, if it is there. If steep slope is there, easy erodible soil is there, application of the surface method is difficult to think about that. So because of the steep slope, erosion will occur. Because of the steep slope, we cannot provide water on even basis. You need to make small strips. You need to make small contour or terraces. While sprinkler can provide water to undulating land also. Irrigation channels which are too small to distribute water efficiently. If channels are there but they are smaller and they cannot fulfill the need, then sprinkler method can add water to those. Lands with shallow soils and undulating lands which prevent proper leveling. So over there, sprinkler method will be preferable. Why it is so? Read it again. Undulating land. So land is not leveled, well leveled. So there is up, high and down in the land, and it has a shallow soil layer at the top. Below that shallow soil layer, the layer is not good fertilized soil, not good soil of for agriculture purpose. If that is the condition, if we have an area where the good soil layer is very shallow of smaller thickness, if I level that ground, that smaller thickness soil layer will also be removed. So if that is a condition, we cannot go for leveling that ground. So then without leveling that ground, you can supply water through sprinklers. How do it work? How do this sprinkler work? I will show it to you. It has the advantages for this method are that we can apply small amount of water uh, on frequent intervals. In surface irrigation method, which is fed from a canal, from a channel, from a distributory, you have to apply water after 7 or 10 days. So while a sprinkler irrigation system is installed, you can apply water as frequently as you need, as low quantity as you think appropriate. So in surface irrigation method, the whole channel is kept open to a field. So sometimes huge quantity of water is applied. So losses are more over there. So we have better control over application of the water in this sprinkler also, in drip irrigation also. So light and frequent irrigations are very useful during germination of the new plants. When from the seeds new plants germinate, they are very delicate. So high quantity of water application may damage them. So in that time, these sprinklers are considered better. We can well manage our irrigation system and measure the quantity. We can there is no interference from the field channels and field ditches in this method. No field channel is there. So we can use the whole land for cultivation purposes, so output can be enhanced. Another advantage which is not written over here, we can apply the fertilizer and the herbicide and the pesticide by mixing them with the water which is being pumped, which is being supplied to the sprinklers. We can easily mix those in the liquid form to the water, and that can be automatically applied along with the water. While sprinkler reduce the population losses, it causes an additional loss which don't occur in case of the surface irrigation. Additional loss which occur in this case, we supply water in sprinkler to the air, so then it becomes droplets and then it falls to the ground. So while for some time it remains in air, some extra evaporation occurs. Extra evaporation of the small droplets do occur. So different sizes of the droplets are the form. Those which are very tiny, which are very small, sometimes they are kept suspended in the air, and they are moved away from that along with the wind. So some extra losses while applying water in the air, those occur over here in case of sprinkler. Frequency and intensity of the wind will affect. Another problem with this sprinkler irrigation system is if it is the area with a high wind speed over there, so then even distribution of the water becomes difficult. For example, wind is blowing from east to west, so that will take more water towards the western area and less water will be applied to the eastern area. So that need to be kept in mind in high windy area. Then you have to use those sprinklers which are of low height, so that it should not go to the higher elevation, and you need more number of sprinkler closely spaced from each other. We can avoid this problem. So if it is sprinkler is supplying water at higher elevation, wind is blowing, so it can cause uneven or non-uniform distribution of the water. The efficiency which we expect to get from this sprinkler irrigation method is close to 70-80%. So 75% is the application efficiency we expect from this sprinkler irrigation method. A typical setup of sprinkler irrigation system, which we call as which we can lay in an agriculture field. This is one of the system. Other kind of sprinkler irrigation system are also there. You can see their figure like this. We call it as a pivotal irrigation system, or irrigation system on a boom or on a truss, laid on a truss. This truss can move laterally in one direction also. It can move around a central point. Then we say this is a pivotal irrigation system, pivotal sprinkler irrigation system. So these are some variation of sprinkler irrigation method. In this method, the components which are required are mentioned over here. You should be knowing if you are thinking of installing a sprinkler irrigation system in a certain area. You will be requiring these things. Of course, you need a water source. That can be a tube wells, that can be a water supply channel, irrigation supply channel, and the water is collected in a tank. So you need a reservoir or you need a well over there. You need to pump that water, and because this is a pressurized irrigation system, without pressure, sprinkler nozzles and the guns will not work. So you need to maintain a certain pressure inside it, 10, 15 psi, 20 psi. So these are the normal pressure requires inside at the end of the nozzles, at the place of the nozzle. So higher pressure is required at the supply end. Because there are losses in between. So you need a pumping system. Of course, for running that pump, you need some energy supplier, generator or motor is required. So then we need a conveyance system. So that is the main line or main pipe of the sprinkler irrigation system. Main line or main pipe supply water to the smaller diameter pipe. We call that as a lateral pipes. And the lateral pipes then have a number of riser pipes, which are the vertical pipes, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, depending upon at what elevation you want to release the water. So from on the riser pipes, there are installed the sprinkler head. Our sprinkler gun is installed. Our rotating nozzle is installed over here. their spacing depends upon their effective radius up to which they can supply water. Effective radius is dependent upon the diameter of those nozzle and the pressure in the pipe. So depending upon the pressure and the different nozzles are available. You can select it from market. Different size of the nozzles are available. So these are some components which are there. Lateral pipes, main pipes, riser pipes, then sprinkler head, and then in addition to that, we need some flow measurement devices pressure gauges are required to control the pressure inside the system. So this actual application of this kind of setup is in the field. You can see the lateral pipes installed over here. These lateral pipes can be fixed. These lateral pipes can be fixed in the whole field. For example, if this is the whole field, we can fix 4, 5, 6 lateral pipes. Alternate way is you can have only 1 or 2 lateral pipes, supply a certain field with those 2 lateral pipes. When that field is irrigated already, then remove those lateral pipes to another place and supply irrigation water to those places. So in this way, we can reduce the initial cost of the project by removable lateral pipes. So usually main lines are not removable, they are remaining fixed over there. They are larger diameter pipes, while these drain lateral pipes, 4-inch pipes, 3-inch pipes, PVC pipes, easily you can remove it and you can put it at other place, and then these riser pipes can be installed over here, and you can carry out the irrigation using this method. This is being constructed. Such kind of pivotal irrigation system or sprinkler irrigation system are being developed in Pakistan. One of the site which I have seen from the web is that by the Jaffer brothers. So they are designing and manufacturing it. 2 YouTube videos are mentioned over here. One of them is about 1 hour long. So that is more detailed video describing each component of this pivotal irrigation system. The starting point, the central point, the supply point, what should be its size, what should be the material, how it can pivot without making the cables, without making any problem to the cables attached to this system. What are the controls attached to this system? What are these V kind of the bars? Or what are these wheel? What should be the sizes of these wheels? What should be the kind of the motor which is running these wheels? So all of these are described in that 1 hour video. And the second one is a few minutes video which describes the benefit of sprinkler irrigation system, just few minutes promotional video. One of the video which is 1 hour, that is more detailed. Please see it whenever you have the time. It will tell you importance or different sizes of various component of this pivotal irrigation system. As you see, this pivotal irrigation system have a truss kind of structure, and the supply pipe is working like a support system for that. So the main supply pipe is working as a support system, and it is having this tie rods also at the bottom. So these tie rods and this pipe in combination together, it works like a truss. Their span can be, the total span can be 300, 400 meter depending upon the size of the water pipe. It can be extended to several number of spans. So between two sports, between these two lateral sports, it can be 30, 40 meters depending upon the stiffness of this pipe, depending upon the depth of this truss itself. So structure engineering will be helpful in case of design of such sport system. Then it gets water out of this main supply pipe with the help of this U-shaped pipe, and hanging pipes are there, and at the end of the bottom end of the hanging pipes they install the sprinkler nozzles. Sprinkler guns are not installed over here. Sprinkler rotating nozzle head are installed at the bottom. They can supply water at the top of the crop. They can supply water at close to the root, close to the ground surface also. Usually they supply water at the top of the crop and create the rain-like condition. They rotate with the help of the motors attached to these wheels, and their they are controlled because all of them, when it is rotating around a point, not all the wheels should be running at the same speed. So speed of these wheels are controlled by some electronic control devices located over here. That device measure the angle or twist between these two spans attached over here, and then they can increase or reduce the speed automatically, so that there should not be any twist between two spans over there. So each wheel is individually powered with a motor attached to those wheels over there. Gear systems are installed. So when you will be seeing that one R video, you will be seeing more details over here. For this class, you should be knowing this component of sprinkler irrigation system. You should be knowing the benefits of this and the drawbacks of this system, and how it is being applied and which kind of the condition this system should be preferred. So when we have high stress of the water, we have less quantity of the water available, and we need more control. And if we have the power system available, then sprinkler irrigation system is a good way of applying irrigation. When you come to the Lahore from Pindi side on the motorway, close to Pindi Bhattiya or close to Shekhupura area, you see large pivotal irrigation system installed over there. Some of the farmers are now going towards the sprinkler irrigation system. So here is a sprinkler nozzle. A sprinkler gun is shown to you, made of metal to avoid the corrosion. They are usually made of copper or some corrosion protected metal. It has a sprinkler nozzle, if you see over here, and that nozzle give water. A jet of water is released from the nozzle. Then there is a vane attached in front of the nozzle, and vane has an vane plate is at an angle to the nozzle. So when jet impinges on this vane, so that part of the this sprinkler gun that rotates. So when jet impinges on this vane, so that vane or that part of the this sprinkler gun that goes to in the opposite direction, that rotates. This vane is then linked on over here with the help of a spring over here. Spring brings it back. So over here there is a spring attached to it. So spring bring it back rapidly. When it come back and it hit it, put a force on this nozzle. It hit the nozzle. So this nozzle then rotates in opposite direction. So over here it is rotatable. So after one impact on the vane goes to the one direction and come back because of the spring, it rotates the jet to another place. So continuous application of this jet on the vane, and then force of the vane on the nozzle keep it rotating in horizontal plane. So if you see it working, it will be impacting on the vane, so you will be having a good noise. You can see that noise working over there. So that is how this nozzle rotates. Some of the rotating nozzle work on the principle of the reaction of the nozzle. So they place the nozzle direction in one direction in horizontal plane. So they are not putting the nozzle in the radial direction, while nozzle direction is made tangential to the radius. So then reaction of the jet going out of the nozzle keep that rotating. So that is also possible, rotating nozzles, and this sprinkler guns also work in a good way. So you might have seen in the larger golf courses such kind of nozzle working. 300-400 rupees, such kind of nozzle is available for your lawn also. You can install in your house also. Comparison of these methods, furrow method and basin method and sprinkler method with respect to water application efficiency. If you see, an experiment was carried out in Faisalabad on a sunflower crop. They made the experimental plots same crop, same season, same area, but these three plots were installed with the three different methods. We can see that efficiency of the sprinkler method reached to up to 90%, while basin method resulted in application efficiency of 70%, while this furrow method reached up to 80% of the. So other efficiency rates can also be seen from here. Last method is the trickle or drip irrigation method. It provides water to the roots with the help of the pipe network or pipe laid in the field, having small opening in the pipe. We call them as emitter. So small emitters are perched. Small emitters are inserted in the pipes, and those emitters release water in the form of the drop by drop. So here is the land which is highly porous land, seems to be a desert. Over there, water is being applied with the help of this drip irrigation system. So these pipes are called as a lateral. These black pipes are called as a lateral. They are connected to a main line pipe, which is not visible in this picture. So from these laterals at each plant location, one pipe is taken out from this lateral. They call this pipe as a so क्या कहते हैं transmitter. They call this pipe as a distributor pipe. They call this pipe as a sublateral or distributor pipe. So this sublateral or distributor pipe is getting water from the lateral, and on this sublateral, one or more emitters will be there. So there will be small openings. So continuous basis, this water is available in these pipes, and continuously basis this area is kept wet depending upon the evapotranspiration requirement of the crop. The pressure can be controlled, and the quantity of the water can be applied to these zones, because not all the land is kept wet, because no pondage is there. So this is the most efficient with respect to water application rate. Initial cost, you can have the idea about 100,000 rupees per acre was the initial cost as given by a study mentioned in Pakistan Today in 2018. So maybe nowadays a little bit higher cost is there. So you should have a figure close to 100,000 per acre is the cost of this kind of irrigation method. So here are all the components which are required. We need some water regulating component or control device which can control the flow in the pipe. We need main pipes, can be 1 inch or ½ inch diameter. We need smaller lateral pipes or sublateral pipes of smaller diameter, 4 millimeter. We need some emitters, adjustable droppers. So these are the droppers which release the water. So we need some sports to which can be inserted inside the land to support these micro tubing. Sometimes we need T connectors, sometimes we need elbow connectors to connect the pipes with each other. To close the end of the pipe, we need end pieces, and to make a hole in the pipe, we need the hole punches. So this is the drip irrigation method. The components are similar to those of sprinkler, the initial components. You need a supply source, you need a pumping system, you need a control device, and then water quality should be relatively better in case of drip irrigation system. It should not have impurities inside it as compared to the sprinkler system. Sprinkler system nozzle is 10 millimeter, 5 millimeter, even larger than that. So that can sustain some kind of suspended sediment. So then those can be released out of that. But this drip irrigation system opening or emitter is very small, a millimeter or a ½ millimeter or 2 millimeter opening is there. So that becomes clogged, that becomes choked if high quantity of salt is there inside the water. Suspended sediment are kept apart. We cannot allow suspended sediment. So I am now talking about the salt. If high quantity of salt is there, the problem with the drip irrigation system is that the dripper are choked, are closed because of the deposition of the salt. So we have to remove those dripper, or we have to remove those emitter, or we have to clean them on frequent basis with the help of the needles. So that is the problem with this drip irrigation system. Remaining components of a conveyance system is similar. You need a mainline pipe that is shown over here. You need a sub-main, and then you need lateral pipes. And you have the sublaterals or the distributors also over there. Various kind of the sublaterals are there. Here they are showing a loop sublateral. Here they are showing you a multi-outlet distributor. Here they are showing a distributor having only one outlet. Another way of application of the water is making the holes within the pipe rather than supplying water with the help of the distributor, just making the small opening or emitter within the lateral pipes. So benefits of this drip irrigation systems are mentioned. It saves water, it enhances the crop growth, it enhances the yield of the crop. Labor is less required except in the initial phase of installing it. It can better control the weeds because not all area is wetted, so weed will not grow in the most of the field. Only weed are expected in the small periphery around the emitters, so that can be controlled. No erosion occurs, and we don't need to prepare the land as in the surface irrigation. So dissolved salts are the main problem which can cause it choking, that need to be avoided, so better quality water is required. So at this I stop the lecture. If you have any questions, we can compare the efficiency of this drip irrigation with the furrow using this research by the Nazir Bey and Awat done in 2005. They say that for the maize crops, they have seen that if they apply water through furrow and they apply the water through drip irrigation system, they save about 32% of the water. So there are more videos. I think these are the same video as I mentioned before. So those are mentioned over here. I leave this lecture over here. If you have any question, you are welcome. So some of the method of irrigation practice in the field are introduced to you in this lecture, starting from the surface, then subsurface, then sprinkler, and then drip irrigation. More detail is available in the books, in the irrigation books. If somebody want to know what is the cost benefit analysis of sprinkler irrigation system or drip irrigation system, solved examples are there in SK Garg book. SK Garg book have the solved example. If you have a surface irrigation system and you want to install to the sprinkler irrigation system, what is the cost benefit? Similarly, they have the solved example for deciding how many number of laterals are required in a certain irrigation field. If soil type is this much, if evapotranspiration losses are so much, how many number of sprinkler guns are required in the field. So those are beyond the scope of your work. If you will go in MSc, maybe that will be introduced to you again. So any questions, you are welcome. Please go through these slides and try to understand it and try to enhance your knowledge. कोई question है तो welcome. Otherwise, I have taken the attendance already. I can leave now, 11:57. Thank you very much.